Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video, and today I'm gonna talk about my new romance book. I have talked about this book in both my April plan with me and my May plan with me, but if I'm gonna talk a little bit about what this is my new full-on romance project. And by full-on I mean my new contemporary romance project. I'm not putting any fancy in this one, it's just focus on the romance. And for me this is a completely new genre. As you may know, I mainly write fancy romance. So at first my romance book was supposed to be a little bit dark. It was going to be a dark and hot romance, kind of forbidden and angsty, that kind of romance. That was my first thought, but what I have been leaning more towards when actually writing the book is the kind of rom-com feel. I don't think I'm funny, but I am channeling that kind of energy for my book, that kind of fun, romantic and sexy vibe. So that is definitely the vibe of this book, and I can pop up my mood board for this project. I am channeling the orange and the blue vibes. It is a summer romance. It's set in the late summer, so I wanted that to be a part of the aesthetic of this book. This book mainly takes place at a pub, and like I'm just mentioning all my ideas so far because in this video I want to talk about the experience of drafting the first half of this book, because I haven't vlogged anything. I didn't do anything with my phone and Siri just started helping me. Anyway, so in this video I wanted to talk about my experience of drafting the first half of this book, what my thoughts are, what my kind of action is going forward for the second half, just talking about this experience. And I'm kind of channeling my old Nea and my old self for this video, because this is how I used to do my writing updates. My channel used to be a booktube. The writing videos came in way later, and at first they came in as this, as a talking update. And I did one of these for each act, so I did 3 videos in total for act 1, 2 and 3. I'm channeling my old self for this video, and I hope that you enjoy this video, even if it's not a vlog. So the tropes of this book are grumpy sunshine, forced proximity, they have to work together to get what they both want. I love me forced proximity and also grumpy sunshine, because that dynamic while in the forced proximity is chef's kiss. That's why I wanted to write about it. And I have been wanting to write a romance for the last couple of years. Ever since really starting putting romance in my fantasy novels, because I write mainly fantasy romance novels and I love romance as a genre. I read a bunch of romance. That's like my biggest genre at the moment that I read. So I have been wanting to try to write my own contemporary romance, and I even got a few ideas for a novella trilogy, you may say, about 3 sisters. But those stories were a bit too much of a feel-good for me. I wanted to write this typical rom-com setting in a small town, forced proximity. They have to be and work with each other all the time, and they don't like each other in the beginning, and they grow more fond of each other along the way, see each other's strengths and weaknesses, and that is what I'm doing. So a bit of this idea I actually took from my other idea for this trilogy or novella trilogy. The 3rd novella in that series was about this sunshine female main character and this grumpy bar owner. So I have definitely took that from that book idea and put it into this one. But I have talked about this before. I really began working with this idea when one of the bigger publishers in Sweden, they opened a new imprint, a romance imprint. So when I saw this, that they were opening up a whole new imprint for hot, modern, contemporary romance, I wanted to read that. I wanted to read it, I wanted to write it, and I wanted to participate in the manuscript competition that they opened up at around the same time. So I had already gotten a bit of this idea before, but when I saw that announcement, my brain started like pumping out new ideas, and I knew that I wanted to write this story for that contest. I know that I have like no chance of winning. I just want to do my best, and I want to participate in the competition either way. But I love this story so much, so the future of this book is up in the air. And at the same time I also looked into other publishers in Sweden that publish romance that my book could fit into, like their publishing. But what I didn't think about was my own publisher, and now I have been rethinking that a lot. I published a TikTok just the other day about this project and my favorite romance book tropes, which in that video ended up being the grumpy sunshine trope. And in that video, or the description of that video, I talked about I'm gonna send this into Harper Love's competition. I'm open about this because that is like what my goal is. That is my deadline for this book is the 30th of August. I'm hopefully gonna send it in before that. But I am very open about this and I wanted to tell the world because I was excited. But then what threw me off was that one of the publishers of my publishing house, Förlag, commented something like, "Good luck on the competition," and I was very thankful for that. But they also said that they thought that this manuscript would go to them, or like that I was gonna send it to them. And me being a fancy author at this publishing house, I didn't think that they had any room for me as a romance author, because I'm a fantasy author at this house, and they have already so many other good romance authors that I didn't think there were room for me there. I'm rethinking everything now, and since I already thought about sending this book to other publishers in Sweden, as well as the competition, like I want this book to be published, I want to be a romance author as well, so I'm aiming high, you guys, and I don't mind saying that. I want this book to be published, and if my publisher wants to read the pitch, I'm of course gonna send Förlag my pitch, and if they want to read the manuscript, I'm gonna send my manuscript to them, because it would be an honor to write romance for the Förlag as well as fancy romance. But I didn't think that they wanted me to write romance for them, because they are already having so many like new up-and-coming romance authors, as well as for 2024 so many new romance books is coming from my publisher. This is making me question things, but I'm still gonna send it to the competition. I'm probably not gonna win, and I'm also gonna send it to other publishers. But let's talk about drafting the first half of this book. I have filmed an outline with me video. I can link that in one of these corners and also in the description below if you haven't seen that, because if you know me, you know that I love doing outline with me videos. So hopefully all my passion for this project shows in that. I outlined up until the halfway point with chapters and scenes, because I am a big plotter and I like to plot even the tiny scenes for each plot beat. So I did the outlining, and then I began drafting on the 26th, or did I outline on the 26th? No, I began drafting on the 26th of March 2023. Then I have been keeping track for every single day of the week how much I am able to write, because I have a goal of hitting 70,000 words for the first draft, and I wanted to write this book in 3 months, and that means that I need to write 24,000 words a month and around 800 words per day to be able to hit 24,000 words a month. I have been trying to hit 800 words a day on this project, and some days I have been able to hit that. Some days I have written, like I'm seeing here, 275 words, and then some days I have been able to write 2,000 words or more. It really depends on the day, but if I have a writing day where I don't write anything at all, or if I'm having a writing day where I write maybe 275 words, like I mentioned, I always try to write more the following day or the following days to make up for that lost momentum and time. I need to outline if I'm gonna be able to write fast. So the outlining process for this project was a big deal, and I wanted to write every scene, every chapter, everything. Because if I know what's gonna happen next in the next chapter, if I know what I'm gonna write tomorrow, I can write today. That's my whole thing, and that's what builds momentum for me and what makes me able to write at least 24,000 words a month. But from the 26th of March to the 26th of April, I was able to write 29,000 words in a month, and then on the 30th of April I hit 35,000 words. And 35,000 words is the halfway point of my word count, but now, today, it's the 4th of May. Today I hit 39,000 words, and I am at the midpoint chapter. So it's more leaning towards an 80k draft right now than a 70k draft. But if I'm able to write that in a 3-month span, I am fine with it being 80k. I just need to get it done in the 3-month period. I haven't really had any bumps on the road so far with this project. Some days I haven't written anything, and that has been because I have been tired, I have been working, or there has been some, like, it has been Easter, for example, during this period, and so I didn't write anything for maybe 2 to 3 days because I was away from home and hanging out with family and having a good time, so I'm not feeling too upset about that. My birthday was the 29th of April, so I didn't write anything that day either. So there's been a few days where I have been doing other things, and that is okay. But I always try to write more if I don't write a day, and that is something that works for me, but it's not gonna work for everyone. So don't take this video as a how-to guide or tips from me, because it's not an how-to guide. I just want to share my experience and document this because I haven't vlogged and I want to talk about my book project. The only real issue I've been having is that when I got into the second act, I replanned a lot of the chapters going into the midpoint. Because when I outlined this and sat down for that video, I had the first act all thought out, and I also had the climactic confrontation in the end all thought out, and I had the midpoint. So I had the midpoint, but I didn't really know how I wanted to work up towards the midpoint of the book. I knew that it was going to be a 7-day period, so a week period, which is also a detail that I may change in the future. I'm thinking if I'm gonna do a 2-week period or something other, because doing the thing that my main characters are doing in 1 week is not really realistic. So I'm gonna read through the book when I'm done with it and see if the tempo works, if I need to change anything, if I need to delete something so that I can make room for another week. So it's between 1 week and 2 weeks. So I knew they were gonna hang out like constantly for 7 days, which is opening up a whole new world of possibilities for me, because forced proximity, they're working together, grumpy sunshine, a lot can happen in 1 week period, but it wasn't really realistic. I hadn't planned out every single day of that week. I just knew that it's gonna be 7 days and they're gonna do something special for each day that is gonna help them both grow and the business grow. Because I didn't plan every single day of the week, I rearranged the days a few times, like the events of the days, and I rethought a lot about the time period, like I said, because I like the ticking clock aspect of this book, and that is what drives the story forward to the halfway point, and I think it builds tension, and that's all I want in a competition, honestly, or writing a book in general. I want to have a fast-paced book so that the publishers, the editors, whoever reads my book will not get tired of the book before finishing it. I want to keep the reader's attention. And so I like the fast-pacedness of this book, but now I'm at the halfway point and I have a crisis. No, I don't really have a crisis. I know what I'm gonna do. And that is, I'm gonna sit down and re-outline the second half of the book. And by that I mean I'm gonna sit down, look at my outline, see if my plot beats have changed and see if it still works. And if it does, then I'm gonna sit down and write chapter and scene outlines for the rest of the book. Just like I did in the last video with the first half of the book, I'm gonna do the same thing to the second half. So that's an update about my project, how it's going so far. It's going well. I have written 900 words something today, the 4th of May, and I actually plan to film my next outline with me video because I love filming them, I love talking about outlining, I love showing you my process, so I'm gonna film the experience of outlining the second half of the book, and it's gonna be so satisfying to actually have a chapter outline done so that I can see the whole book in front of me, how it's gonna end. I can see the end line. So that's the video I'm planning on doing, and then I'm actually planning on doing a video where I'm talking about how I write a pitch, because I have written 3 pitches in my lifetime which is not a lot, but I have kind of gathered a formula that I think really works. And I want to talk about this formula with you and show you how I write pitches. And just to be completely clear, I've written 3 pitches. The first one was for my debut novel, God's Order Ruin, and I sent it to my publisher, Seraflag. And they had heard about me from Instagram before, so my book may have been a manuscript that they had wanted to read even before reading my pitch. So let's keep that in mind when I talk about this. I sent in a pitch and they wanted to read my manuscript, so it was a positive response to a pitch that I had written. And by this point I hadn't written any pitches before. And the second pitch that I sent in was for my horror novella, and I sent that in to my then publisher because I had written a contract on my debut novel with them at this point, and I had written that horror novella. And I sent in a pitch to them because I knew that they were gonna publish a lot more horror stuff. I sent it in and they wanted to read the novel, and I didn't send in the novella to them, so this project is never gonna be published, probably. But anyway, it was a positive response to that pitch as well. And the third one that I sent in was for the sequel to God's Order Ruin. So that is also something that you may keep in mind, that I am already contracted with this publisher, and it says in my contract that all the books that I write in this series, they have a right to read first. So even though I sent them a pitch beforehand, they didn't need a pitch. Like, I could have just sent them the manuscript and like, here's the sequel, it's about these 2 characters and this is a fantasy romance. I wouldn't need to say anything more than that, but I wanted to send them a pitch to see what they thought about the whole story in of itself. And I got a positive response on that as well. But they are my publisher now, so let's keep all of that in mind. But with that said, I really enjoy writing pitches because I think it's so fun trying to write a catchy pitch, to grab someone's attention and to like show them all the good pieces of your book and why they should read it. And so I want to film that whole experience for you as well, and I hope you're excited about that. But if there is something special that you want me to talk about, a specific thing about writing romance books or writing this book in particular, anything about publishing or this contest in general, let me know in the comments and I will definitely either do a whole video about it or bring it up in future videos and vlogs. And of course I will vlog more about this project. I will do vlogs about this and the rest of the book. I will do that, I promise. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and a comment below and subscribe, because I post a new video every week, every Thursday, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!